everyone. Dear Secretary General, Dr. Kyriazopoulos, dear Deputy CEO of Port Authority of Piraeus, Captain Wang Lin, dear honorable guests, dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome, good morning. Welcome to the Green Sea Ports Conference. My name is Anna Leka. I am a partner, I am a member of the consortium team and honored to be moderating today's event. Green and Connected Ports is the full title of Green Sea Ports. It's an ambitious project trying to develop a wide series of digital technologies and innovations to support environmental sustainability at the ports of the TEN-T network. The project is co-funded by the Connecting Europe facility. It started in April 2019 and is expected to finish in March 2023. The project is jointly implemented by 12 partners from 4 European countries, Spain, Greece, Germany, and Italy, and is coordinated by the Valencia Port Foundation of Spain. Now, we are running in our third year of implementation now, so a set of outputs and results are readily available. Today's conference is going to focus on these outputs and the milestones accomplished so far, so looking forward to the presentations and exchange of views. Without further delay, I won't delay you anymore. I would like to invite our host, the Deputy CEO, Captain Wang Lin from the Port Authority of Piraeus, to address a welcome, and then we will proceed with the Secretary General. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Some are very old friends and colleagues. We take these opportunities. And our dear friends from the ministries, I just shortened this one. Everybody's very busy. That's one we can discuss later. I just take this opportunity to welcome everybody on behalf of the Port of Piraeus. And because such a project is an ongoing one, I still remember the last gatherings, that's the part. So I did take this chance, the few words what we shared. And Piraeus Port, the functioning is one of the big ports in the Mediterranean. With the multi-functions, what I like to emphasize is, it's a very unique in Europe, because we related to the cruise ships. Maybe everybody see. This is the one, the hot ports, the connecting, that's the port, the cruise business has been started. That's the hot season is back. Yesterday, the whole cruise piers was occupied. 5 very nice, fancy, the cruise was operated in Piraeus ports. Thousands of passengers is very happy to back to that part. That's the functions compared with the other ports in Europe. Is have the other demands. Even we are working on this also EU fundings, this expansion on this the new piers parts has been working on the progress, is facing a lot of difficulty. But to meet that the futures the demanding, also this decarbonizations and the clean ports what we provide such a service. I think it is a very necessity. I take this chance. And the other functions also we related, that's the publics and the ferry domestic coastal parts. Piraeus Port is very proud. We're still back to the very high levels compared with the years ago, even during the post-COVID periods. That's where related to 16 millions through port for the passengers. I take this chance as related not only for the industrial functions, also related a lot of that's the public's interesting. So how demanding that's the parts. I just shortened this, the understanding what we are discussing for related that's the green ports, how important it is. And PPA has set up decarbonization plans until 2030s, aligned with the goals of the European Green Deals and Fit for 55 packages to reduce this greenhouse gas emissions and related parts by at least 55% by 2030, compared with the 1990 levels. Everybody's aware of. It's an ambitious goals for EU. Especially, it's not easy for us. But I think I just urge everybody, we have to work up, we have to boost to facing the truth. We must join all the force to achieve it. For Piraeus ports, the coal irons, that's related to a lot of the port operation, will be one of these the actions aiming improve the air and the noise qualities in the ports in the area and in the surrounding areas that be benefits to the whole community. That's the parts we are working on it. We are on the right tracks. All the colleagues, the teams, struggling for this part. So recently, we are working out that's in action plans, also related a lot of the other issues. We try our best. So through this Green Seaports project, PPA has upgraded the exceeding the sensors, the networks of this, the atmospheres, the noise sensors, so on and so on. I just shortened this part. So I take this chance. I just hope our very nice teams could solid our technical support, and our toolboxes will be got more food to help such projects to move forward and to contribute to the whole societies in alliance still with the EU's one. So I just shortened this one because the General Secretary is really urged to some of them. We can discuss it later. I just hope the conference could be very successful. Enjoy the stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Wang. The General Secretary of Ports, Port Policy and Maritime Investments of the Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Insular Policy, Dr. Kyriazopoulos.
Thanks a lot. I agree with you. Yesterday was a very nice, beautiful day for Port of Piraeus. I have too many pictures from cruise ships, you see. I have a nice view from my office, so I see all these nice cruise ships that come yesterday to the Port of Piraeus. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to be at this important event for the port community. First of all, congratulations for the success of the Green and Connected Port project. I am happy to say that it was our General Secretariat that gave the first green light for the proposal of this award-winning project. Piraeus Port is one of the 5 main Hellenic ports of TNT network. That's why projects like this are important to shaping our national transport policy. And today our national policy is more connected to the environment than ever. In fact, our maritime transport policy was completely transformed. It now follows the European Union's goals to first reduce greenhouse gas emissions at least 55% by 2030, and secondly, to achieve the climate neutrality by 2050. For example, between 6 and 7% of carbon dioxide emissions are created at birth when the ship is standing in the port. This especially shows that we need to make our ports green. To achieve this, the European Union has 3 main goals: the greening of shipping, the sustainability of port services, and the infrastructure of alternative fuels. The regulation of the alternative fuels infrastructure is looking to create a solid alternative fuel network, including liquefied natural gas in all EU ports. However, high investment on ports for an alternative fuel infrastructure are needed. The Commission believes that the total cost of investment from 2025 to 2050 will be around 10 billion euros. So, let's talk about the financial options available to achieve these goals. Although I don't believe that there is enough financing available to cover these needs, let me talk about the possible tools to make our ports greener. First of all, your instrument, the well-known Connective Euro facility, which we continue to finance until 2027, actions relating to the maritime ports, multimodal logistics platforms, and motorways of sea program. Secondly, there is also the alternative fuel infrastructure facility that supports three key areas: renewable energy, green hydrogen, and circular economy. With 1.5 billion euros until 2023, the program provides funding for three types of recharging and refueling infrastructure, including LNG, electric and hydrogen refueling infrastructure, also for short sea shipping vessels. Furthermore, another possibility for financing maritime projects is the Innovation Fund. This fund will provide 20 billion euros for new low-carbon technologies, and it has already invested 118 million euros into 32 projects in 14 different European Union countries. The most impressive projects financed by the fund are the use of green hydrogen from renewable sources for zero-emission vessel, low-carbon bio-liquefied natural gas for maritime transport, and wind-assisted technology for a cruise ship. Of course, a big part of the funding for greening of ports need to go to research to find better answers about which maritime fuels in the port infrastructures are needed. Thus, the Horizon Europe program will provide 95 billion euros in co-funding for research and innovation projects, part of which will be for environmental friendly transport projects. A great action is also the zero-emission waterborne transport partnership, will focus on developing the first zero-emission vessel by 2030. So, as we can see, there are many possibilities available. Although the situation in Ukraine may slow down developments and investments, the time for change in maritime transport and ports is now. With this in mind, unfortunately, I will have to leave now. I have two more obligations, and because there are many other speakers waiting to speak after me. Thank you very much. I wish you great discussion about the green of ports and the opportunity ahead. Thanks a lot. Sorry. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Kyriazopoulos. Unfortunately, we will have to excuse the Secretary General as he has another conference to attend. Okay, moving on. Our next speaker for the welcome address is Mrs. Antonia Karakatsani. She's the Deputy Mayor of the Municipality of Piraeus. She is responsible for the environment and landscape issues. Ms. Karakatsani. She's going to do her presentation on behalf of the Mayor, Ioannis Moralis, who could not attend today. Her presentation is going to be in Greek, but we are going to illustrate the English version on the screen for your convenience. Thank you.
Θα αλλάζουμε εμείς.
Όχι, θα την αλλάξει. Ποιος είναι υπεύθυνος? Κάθε σελίδα που θα προχωρήσει.
Να το βάλουμε να παίξει.
Ναι. Καλημέρα σε όλους και όλες. Είναι μεγάλη μας τιμή που σας φιλοξενούμε στην πόλη μας. Ως Αντιδήμαρχος της Διεύθυνσης Περιβάλλοντος και Πρασίνου, σας καλωσορίζω στη φιλόξενη πόλη του Πειραιά, εκ μέρους του Δημάρχου Πειραιά, κ. Γιάννη Μόραλη, ο οποίος δεν κατέστη δυνατόν να παραστεί εξαιτίας επίγουσας υποχρέωσης. Είναι χαρά μου που βρίσκομαι σήμερα εδώ, στην ημερίδα του Ευρωπαϊκού Έργου, Green Seaports, υποστηριζόμενο από το πρόγραμμα της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης, με τόσο σημαντικούς εκπροσώπους φορέων χωρών της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης, που ενεργοποιούνται σε τομείς του τουρισμού, των μεταφορών και των λιμενικών δραστηριοτήτων γενικότερα, αλλά ταυτόχρονα συμμετέχουν για χάρη του περιβάλλοντος. Σε δράσεις που μόνο θετικά συνεισφέρουν στο βιωτικό επίπεδο των πολιτών των ευρωπαϊκών πόλεων. Θα ήθελα να χαιρετήσω τους Ευρωπαίους εταίρους και να συγχαρώ ιδιαίτερα τη συντονίστρια αρχή της δράσης στον οργανισμό Λιμένος της Βαλένθιας για τον άριστο συντονισμό των δράσεων υλοποίησης του έργου. Θα ήθελα να συγχαρώ επίσης όλους τους Έλληνες εταίρους του έργου και κυρίως τον οργανισμό Λιμένος Πειραιά για την άψογη διοργάνωση της ημερίδας, αλλά και να τους ευχαριστήσω για τη δραστηριοποίησή τους στο λιμάνι του Πειραιά και τη συνεχή προσφορά τους στην ανάπτυξη της πόλης μας. Συμβολή του Δήμου και του λιμανιού του στην οικονομική ανάπτυξη. Ο Πειραιάς αναπτύσσεται ταχύτατα και εξελίσσεται σε ένα σύγχρονο λιμάνι υψηλών προδιαγραφών. Από την πρώτη στιγμή της θητείας μας, ως Δημοτική Αρχή, διακηρύττουμε την τεράστια σημασία που έχει η θάλασσα για την οικονομική ανάπτυξη της πόλης μας. Άλλωστε, το 37% του εμπορίου εντός της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης διεξάγεται δια θαλάσσης. Ενώ το 2021 το λιμάνι του Πειραιά ήταν στην 29η θέση παγκοσμίως και στην 5η θέση στην Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση. Στον Πειραιά συναντώνται δύο σημαντικοί παράγοντες της παγκόσμιας αλυσίδας. Ο ελληνικός εφοπλισμός και η μεγαλύτερη εξαγωγική βιομηχανία, η Κίνα. Παράλληλα, ο Πειραιάς αποτελεί έναν κόμβο θαλάσσιο μεταφορό σε υψηλή ειδίκευση. Περιβαλλοντικές επιδράσεις των λιμενικών δραστηριοτήτων. Δυστυχώς, σχεδόν όλες οι έντονες λιμενικές δραστηριότητες έχουν αρνητικό αντίκτυπο στο περιβάλλον της εγκύτερης περιοχής, ενώ τα ίδια λιμάνια είναι ευάλωτα σε μελλοντικές αλλαγές στο κλίμα, λόγω της προβλεπόμενης αύξησης της στάθμης της θάλασσας, σε χρονικό ορίζοντα ίσως και μόνο μερικών δεκαετιών. Υπό ορισμένες συνθήκες, η ατμοσφαιρική ρύπανση μπορεί να φτάσει σε επίπεδα που μπορούν να δημιουργήσουν από ανεπιθύμητες συνθήκες διαβίωσης έως και μακροχρόνια προβλήματα υγείας. Συνεπώς, η παρακολούθηση της ποιότητας του αέρα, αλλά και των επιπέδων θορύβου σε μια αστική περιοχή, όπως είναι ο Πειραιάς, που εμπεριέχει ταυτόχρονα σημαντικές λιμανικές εγκαταστάσεις, αλλά και συναφείς επιχειρήσεις, είναι θεμελιώδης σημασία. Ο Δήμος Πειραιά δεσμεύεται ότι για την αντιμετώπιση της ατμοσφαιρικής ρύπανσης στην περιοχή του λιμένα, σε συνεργασία με τον ΟΛ, αλλά και τους αρμόδιους φορείς, θα συνδράμει ώστε να ληφθούν τα εξής μέτρα. Πρώτον, συνεχής έλεγχη της ποιότητας καυσίμων των πλοίων με τη λήψη δειγματοληψιών. Δεύτερον, χρήση καυσίμων ειδικών προδιαγραφών στο περιβάλλον για πλοία που κινούνται εντός του λιμανιού. Τρίτον, συνεχής έλεγχη επιθεώρησης της κατάστασης των μηχανών των πλοίων, ώστε να διαπιστώνεται αν έχει γίνει γνωστή συντήρηση. Τέταρτον, εκπόνηση κυκλοφοριακής συγκοινωνιακής μελέτης σε ευρύτερης περιοχής του λιμένα, με σκοπό την αποφυγή της διέλευσης οχημάτων εντός της πόλης του Πειραιά. Πέμπτο, αυστηρούς καθημερινούς επιτόπιους ελέγχους εκπομπών καυσαερίων σε όλα τα οχήματα που διασχίζουν την περιοχή του λιμανιού. Έκτο, δημιουργία δικτύου σταθμών μέτρησης ατμοσφαιρικής ρύπανσης εντός των διοικητικών ορίων του Δήμου Πειραιά. Από το 2010, μετρήσεις ατμοσφαιρικής ρύπανσης για την περιοχή του Πειραιά διεξάγονται από το δίκτυο σταθμό μέτρησης ατμοσφαιρικής ρύπανσης του Υπουργείου Περιβάλλοντος, με κίτρινο και μπλε χρώμα. Από το 2018 διεξάγονται εξειδικευμένες μετρήσεις ατμοσφαιρικής ρύπανσης στην οροφή του τερματικού σταθμού του ηλεκτρικού τρένου, πορτοκαλί χρώμα, πλησίων του λιμένου Πειραιά. Ο Δήμος Πειραιά εφαρμόζει διαρκώς εθνικές αλλά και ευρωπαϊκές δράσεις, στοχεύοντας τη μείωση των περιβαλλοντικών επιπτώσεων των λιμενικών δραστηριοτήτων. Λαμβάνοντας υπόψη μας, η Διεύθυνση Περιβάλλοντος και Πρασίνου του Δήμου Πειραιά ανέλαβε με ιδιαίτερη χαρά τη συμμετοχή στην υλοποίηση του καινοτόμου έργου Green Seaports το Μάρτιο του 2019, γνωρίζοντας ότι μπορεί να φέρει εις πέρας μια τόσο απαιτητική πολυσύνθετη δράση. Στο πλαίσιο του έργου, ο Δήμος Πειραιά έχει εγκαταστήσει από τις 3 Δεκεμβρίου του 2020 δίκτυο μετεωρολογικών και αέριας ρύπασης αισθητήρων. Θέλω να πω, έχουμε τη βράβευση του Δήμου Πειραιά. Είμαστε στην ευχάριστη θέση να σας ενημερώσουμε ότι ο Δήμος Πειραιά τιμήθηκε ανάμεσα σε πολλούς υποψηφίους Δήμους της Ελλάδας για τη συμμετοχή του στο έργο του Green Seaports. Πιο συγκεκριμένα στο πλαίσιο διεξαγωγής της 4ης Διεθνής Έκθεσης Τεχνολογίας Περιβάλλοντος από τις 18 έως τις 20 Μαρτίου του 2020. Του απονεμέθηκε το βραβείο ελέγχου μέτρησης ποιότητας ατμοσφαιρικού αέρα στην κατηγορία αέρια ρύπανση. Ωφέλη από τη συμμετοχή του Πειραιά στη δράση Green Seaport. Ο Δήμος Πειραιά, στο πλαίσιο υλοποίησης του έργου, θα συνεισφέρει εμπράκτως στην επίτευξη των στόχων του για την αειφόρο και βιώσιμη ανάπτυξη, την προστασία του περιβάλλοντος, τη μείωση των περιβαλλοντικών επιπτώσεων των λιμενικών δραστηριοτήτων, αλλά και τη βελτιστοποίηση της αποδοτικότητας των δραστηριοτήτων αυτών. Ως Δημοτική Αρχή, δεσμευόμαστε ότι θα συνεχίσουμε να αναλαμβάνουμε παρόμοιες πρωτοβουλίες για την προστασία του περιβάλλοντος. Συνοψίζοντας, το όραμα της Δημοτικής Αρχής για την ανάπτυξη της πόλης ως επιχειρηματικού και τουριστικού και μητροπολιτικού κέντρου διεθνούς αναγνωσιμότητας και εμβλέβειας παραμένει ζωντανό. Παράλληλα, δεν λησμονούμε και τους στόχους περιβαλλοντικού χαρακτήρα, συμβάλλοντας έτσι στη βασική επιδίωξή μας, που είναι η βιώσιμη ανάπτυξη σε όλους τους τομείς που δραστηριοποιούνται εντός και περί του λιμανιού μας, τους κατοίκους, εργαζόμενους και επισκέπτες της πόλης μας. Σας ευχαριστώ και πάλι για την παρουσία σας και τη συμμετοχή σας και ελπίζω να έχετε μια ευχάριστη διαμονή στην πόλη μας στις επόμενες μέρες. Σας ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Karakatsani. Going to our next and final speaker for the first session, I would like to welcome Mr. Stefano Campagnolo. He's the project manager of Green Seaports in Sinea. He's a project manager in a number of ports dealing with multimodal and multi-fuel components. Mr. Campagnolo is joining online today. So, good morning.
Good morning.
We can hear you.
Morning.
Yes, good morning. We can hear you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I will just share my PowerPoint presentation that I prepared for today.
Thank you. We're waiting.
Is it visible?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Go ahead.
So, good morning from Brussels. I wish to thank everybody before starting, in particular the Fundación Valencia Port, the Piraeus Port Authority, the Municipality of Piraeus, and all those involved for the organization of these 2 days. Unfortunately, I cannot be with you in physically, but at least there's the possibility to speak remotely. Today is an important day and a milestone for this project. Indeed, this is the second public event and the first, as far as I know, at least partially in presence, to share the experience and the concrete results of Green Seaports, and in particular, the successful installation of the environmental sensor, their integration on the existing monitoring system, and the development of the port environmental performance platforms in 5 core ports: Piraeus, Bremerhaven, Wilhelmshaven, Valencia, and Venice. This event is therefore an opportunity to make visible also the initiative supported by EU to improve the sustainability of ports for both the cities that are hosting them and the operators involved, while ensuring smooth and efficient transport flow towards their capture areas. Like this event, my intervention will be somehow hybrid. First, indeed, I'm going to talk more and to not show many slides, when I will touch upon why Green Sea ports is still an actual project, to later focus on the ongoing funding opportunities under CEF program, the one that are available for you today. So Green Sea Port has been conceived already in 2018 and founded in 2019 under a different scenario. Before what we know, the two main game changers, the COVID-19 outbreak and the geopolitical tension which are affecting now the energy markets. It has been awarded of a fund of more than €3.5 million of EU contributions. Why? Because of the highly innovative idea of linking the measurement of emissions and weather conditions to improve transport flow. Hence, Green Sea Port will significantly contribute to innovation, sustainable transport, and decarbonization, overcoming existing critical aspects by improving the efficiency of port operation, promoting environmental sustainability of ports, the environmental performance, as well as their operation, and improving the connection to the cities. Therefore, it is aligned with the 10th priority, especially for what it matters, efficiency and sustainability. The expectation of the impact from this project are also very significant. Indeed, through the sensor deployed, the port environmental platforms, and the model supported by artificial intelligence, key information would be available to a wide array of stakeholders, port operators, public authorities, customers, municipalities across the 5 main ports, as well as improving economical and environmental performances while reducing negative externalities such as congestion, emissions, which create tensions sometimes with cities that are next to the ports. Now, after the first phase, which I assume it has been a little bit bumpy also due to the unprecedented events we mentioned above, the COVID-19 outbreak and later on the geopolitical tensions, the agency is looking forward towards the last year of implementation and the most exciting phase, the full execution of the 6 case studies foreseen and the later study on the possibility to replicate this experience across the EU. Indeed, an initiative like Green Sea Port is extremely important for the EU since it addresses 2 key priorities. First and foremost, the climate change, as well as a new emerging priority, which is energy security. In particular, when talking about climate change, we know that measures at global level are necessary to fight the rise of temperature. To do so, there's only one way, which is extremely challenging, a monumental challenge, a societal challenge, decarbonization, which is not limited to the transport sector only. And to overcome these challenges, the European Green Deal, adopted at the beginning of the term of this Commission, aimed to transform the EU into a modern, resource-efficient and competitive economy. And as you already know, it will make also Europe the first climate-neutral continent in the world by 2050. This is the goal, and it is even more urgent now due to the tensions which are affecting the energy markets. Transport is one of the sectors with the highest growth of emission and other pollution elements in the past decades, since it makes use mostly of fossil fuel and in particular of oil. Therefore, to achieve the goal set by 2050, a reduction of 90% of greenhouse gases emission from transport is necessary. And it goes without saying that this entails dramatic changes and it cannot happen overnight. Measures to support the transition and accompanying all transport modes are necessary. Nevertheless, this has to happen now very fast when the technological solutions are available. And for technological solution, it doesn't mean necessarily to be a breakthrough, but it can be also a technology aiming at making a more efficient use of resources and to optimize the use of existing infrastructure while reducing energy consumption and improving the environmental footprint of operations. In a word, technologies that helps to reduce the negative externalities associated to the infrastructure. And this is ultimately what beneficiaries are trying to achieve with the Green Seaport action. Maritime transport and related infrastructure here has a key role, since this modality is carrying the majority of goods, 80% in metric ton per kilometer traveled every year, and is the most efficient use, although is using only fuel derived from oil. Therefore, the first step towards this transition to support decarbonization had been already taken, and the European Commission is committed to the objective through several measures like proposals, legislative proposals, and as well as funding and supporting the transition. In particular, resources have been set up, as you can see in the slide, with, among others, since last year, the executive agency has been created, SINEA, to support the European Climate, Environmental and Infrastructure funds. The European Commission has entrusted this agency, SINEA, with a budget of 55 billion. You can see here all the project, all the program management, which are not limited only to transport and infrastructure. And it is linked to the Green Deal, and it is necessary to implement the strategy, objectives, and priorities in the areas that EU has set. And to support this transition towards a lower carbon economy, already the funding program has started. In particular, the Connecting Euro facility is a key funding instrument to promote growth, job competitiveness through infrastructure investment on the trans-European network for transport, energy, and digital services. And as you know, the CEF program has been implemented since 2014 with a budget of around 30 billion, 24 of which went to the transport sector and contributes actively to the European transport infrastructure policy. For the maritime sector in particular, CEF transport has been the traditional funding sources for studies and works related to maritime infrastructure project on both on the core and the comprehensive network, including the motorways of the sea concept. During the period 2014-2020, 152 actions have been founded in 119 maritime ports, receiving 1.67 billion of EU contribution. And when it comes to the innovation and new technologies under which Green Seaport was selected, CEF focused on market study innovation, notably it supported technologies sufficiently mature and at the end of their research and development phase to test their business model through pilot deployments to pave the way for further rollout and mass market. And since 2017, action targeted digitalization and the rollout of supply of alternative fuel infrastructure. In the latter case, because the technology reached a good maturity level. In total, more than 200 actions have been financed, representing slightly less of 5 billion of investment and close to 1.3 billion of CEF contribution. And the funding from private sector has progressively increased within the blending concept. Now, as you can see, the CEF2 program is running from last year, 2021 to 2027, with an overall budget of 33.71 billion, targeting again transport, environment, and telecom for completing the network, modernization, and also with an eye to civil defense, the so-called dual use. As you are probably aware, the first main call has been closed on 19th of January, making available 7 billion for projects aiming to build, upgrade, and improve the European transport infrastructure. Nowadays, the evaluation phase is being finalized and results will be communicated after the decision of the CEF committee at the beginning of this summer. However, the envelopes for different call and topics were stable as agreed in the implementation. Therefore, for the first 3 calls, namely the one that just passed and the next 2, related the envelopes are stable, and therefore more information can be found on CINE website, especially on the multi-annual program. And the second call for proposal will be launched in the forthcoming season. Talking more concretely about the funding opportunities for maritime and waterborne transport, you can see in this slide a summary with what can be financed. In particular, CEF2 supports initiatives to increase sustainability for the support and the reduction of greenhouse gases emission and negative externalities like alternative fuels, onshore power supply, and other emission-reducing technologies. It will also support initiatives to develop smart and interoperable transport, namely aiming to a wider digitalization, including also through better digital tools such as the European Maritime Single Window, data sharing among operators, and other traffic management solutions like the Vessel Traffic Monitoring System, the VTMIS, or the River Information Service. It will also contribute to make seamless transport happening, including investment in physical infrastructure both in ports and for improving the inland connections. As well as it will support action to ensure resilience, like fostering digitalization, strengthening port infrastructure, and including in the planning of the infrastructure, connections that are resistant to disruptions. However, nowadays, as I said, there is still a funding opportunity under CEF2, which is notably the open call on alternative fuel infrastructure facility, known as a FIF, which has an indicative budget of 1.5 billion euro. These include also the cohesion envelope. This addresses the topic of low and zero emission fuels. The objective is to focus on zero emission fuel for transport, notably electricity and hydrogen, with a 30 and a 50% compounding rate, as well as transition on low emission fuel, limited this only for maritime transport and inland waterways, up to 10% funding. You can see indeed from this slide that the FIF has 2 priorities, but the one we are focusing in are the topics on zero emission and low emission fuel, because the so-called unit cost addresses only road transport. AFIF has 2 particular issues or features that makes it different from other CEF calls. The first one, that it is a rolling call, meaning that, as you can see, you can have continuous cutoff dates. One has just passed, but another is approaching soon, so from the 7th of June. And this will have sufficient time to beneficiaries to prepare the application. Furthermore, the second particularity is the need of financial agreement with an implementing partner or with a non-implementing partner that has to be provided at the moment of the application to stimulate, to show that there is a real commitment and a mature commitment with a due diligence carried out for having a financial contribution, and has to be signed before the signature of the grant agreement in order to stimulate and attract private capital. Here, as I mentioned, you can see the co-funding rates for the cohesion envelope and for the general envelope, 30% up to 30% and 50% in for electricity, while 10% in 20% are left for the LNG, for the low emission coal. Without entering too much in details, I have prepared two slides that shows what actually is going is eligible in all in the for inland waterways and also for maritime port areas within the TEN-T. So for the electrification of transport, there is on one hand the recharging stations to supply inland waterway and maritime vessels, such as OPS or and the related grid connection, as well as to support vehicles and equipment used in operations. However, it is not possible to finance directly the vehicles and equipment unless there is a business case that shows that this is necessary to create and to feed a market, as well as only the difference between the cost of traditional fuel equipment and zero emission equipment will be available, will be eligible. And to not make it too long and too details, but also hydrogen in the same priority can be financed both for the infrastructure to recharge, to fuel the vehicles, including also the operational vehicles, and the same conditions applies as for the electricity. Namely, that only the difference between the for the vehicles only if necessary for justifying the business case, and only if there is a business case behind with eligible costs as fossil fuel and the difference between conventional vehicles equipped by fossil fuel and zero emission vehicles. And for the LNG, this, of course, it is a mature and a transition fuel, therefore the co-financing rate is lower. Storage and bunkering vessels are eligible within this priority. And of course, priority will be given to action demonstrating a progressive uptake of bio-LNG, which has a lower emission than that conventional ING. And this is the end of my intervention because I don't want to enter, as I said, too much in details. You can find all the information on CINEA website. And I invite to contact through the normal channels the agency and the European Commission in case you need further clarification, as well as to follow if you are thinking to prepare an application, the frequently asked question, which clarifies even better the possibilities and the technicalities of the code. Thank you very much again, and I'm looking forward to next speakers to have more insight on the development of the case studies and on the work done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Campagnolo. We have now concluded with the speakers, so I will open the floor for discussion. I don't know if we have any questions in the room or through our online participants. In case we do have questions, please just raise your hand and we will bring you a microphone. And in the case of the online participants, kindly put your question in the chat and we will just read it aloud. No? So everything was clear? Δημήτρη, έχουμε κάποια ερώτηση? Ωραία, οπότε το ολοκληρώνω.
I think we will have questions
During the presentations, definitely. Okay, so I will now conclude the first session. Thank you to all the speakers for their enlightening presentations. We will take a break of half an hour. Please feel free to get your coffees and beverages right outside the conference room. For those who were delayed, I kindly ask you to sign the participants list right outside the conference room. Thank you very much. Half an hour.
Trying to find the reasons why lately I ain't over us, but I feel like I'm losing touch as I dive in deeper. Do you notice? Maybe I just overthink, but I don't want this over quick. If I started sinking, would you leave the light on so I can come home? 'Cause I'm getting scared in the dark on my own. If you opened your eyes, then you'd already know, I'm feeling alone and I need you now. I need you, I need you. I'm feeling alone and I need you now. I need you, I need you. I'm feeling alone and I need you now. I need you, I'm feeling alone and I need you now. You made me nervous, oh. Now I'm losing sleep at night. You never used to make me cry, but you don't deserve this, oh. I know it's not your fault, but I question all your reasons why. These words get stuck in my mouth, but I feel like I'm dragging you down as I dive in deeper. Do you notice? Maybe I just overthink, but I don't want this over quick. If I started sinking, would you leave the light on so I can come home? 'Cause I'm getting scared in the dark on my own. If you opened your eyes, then you'd already know, I'm feeling alone and I need you now. I need you, I need you. I'm feeling alone and I need you now. I need you, I need you. 'Cause I need you now. I need you, I'm feeling alone and I need you now. I need you now. Would you leave the light on so I can come home? 'Cause I'm getting scared in the dark on my own. If you opened your eyes, then you'd already know, I'm feeling alone and I need you now. I'm sorry for the hurt, I'm sorry for the pain, I'm sorry that